The Paris Olympics are exactly 100 days away. The French capital is gearing up to host the most famous sporting event of the year, the Summer Games.
Now, this will be the first Games to be held in Paris in a century. 10,500 athletes will be competing in 329 events, watched by millions of spectators. Now, there are plans for an unprecedented opening ceremony on the River Seine, which runs through the heart of the city.
But there are growing concerns about security threats, which could prompt organizers to change the venue for the opening.
French authorities have been stepping up security. About 45,000 officers will be mobilized on the 26th of July.
For more, let's speak to Ross Cullen. He joins us live from Paris. Ross, 100 days to go to the Games. Is Paris prepared for the arrival of all these athletes and spectators?
Well, there's been 7 years of lead-up, Rani, and now we are firmly in the completion stage. The Athletes' Village is all ready and sorted. The Aquatic Centre is all ready, and that's open as well. The Aquatic Centre, interestingly, the only arena for the Olympics that's been built from scratch. 95% of the sporting venues are already in place. So the preparations well underway. We've seen even in Place de la Concorde, one of the main squares in Paris, they are right now building the stands and the stadiums for the urban sports. That's where the street basketball, the skateboarding and the BMX will take place. And there's going to be a temporary stadium also being built, and that's under construction right now in the gardens next to the Eiffel Tower for the beach volleyball.
Now, Ross, talk us through, what's the atmosphere like in Paris? Are residents looking forward to hosting the Olympics?
Well, Dylan, it's a bit of both, really. We do know that hundreds of thousands of Parisians traditionally leave the city every summer to go on holiday. And so the mayor is very much aware of that. Anna Hidalgo pleading with residents to stay this July and August to soak up the atmosphere at the Olympics and Paralympics. But speaking to many locals, they say they are sticking with their plans, and they're even looking to rent out their apartments to try to make some extra cash for visitors coming from overseas. But we do know that there are going to be so many people coming. Paris is a real draw all year round, especially in the summer for foreign tourists, and even so this year with the Olympics just drawing more people. Restaurants and bars are expecting a surge in the number of visitors as they come to soak up the Olympic Games.
Ross, as with any major large event like the Olympics, there are heightened security concerns, especially for the opening ceremony at the River Seine where you are now. What measures are being taken to beef up security?
Yeah, that's right, Rani. So we are on a bridge right now over the River Seine, and this is where that unprecedented opening ceremony is meant to be taking place 100 days from now on the 26th of July. It's a 6-kilometre route coming from that direction, going behind me, finishing next to the Eiffel Tower, a parade of boats. Each national committee, each squad of athletes will be on a separate barge, travelling down the River Seine in that amazing spectacle that we are all hoping it will be. However, so many security concerns around that. First of all, they wanted to have maybe upwards of 500,000 people lining these riverbanks, lining the bridges. That is just too many. They've already reduced that number of the people that they are going to have here. It's going to be ticketed as well, witnessing the opening ceremony. Also, the risk of a terrorist threat. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, spoke about that in the last couple of days. Unfortunately, this country has been targeted over recent years with terror attacks, and that is something that is really concerning for the security services and for the police. And so they are considering Plan B, holding it next to the Eiffel Tower, but not a moving ceremony on the River Seine, or even Plan C, which is in the Stade de France. This is meant to be the first Olympics ever with an opening ceremony not in a stadium, but it might end up back in a stadium in the Stade de France if the opening ceremony on the river is considered just impossible to secure entirely. And one other thing on security, there are going to be QR codes, just like we had to show during the coronavirus pandemic. In order to be able to access each Olympic venue will be surrounded by a perimeter, and only ticket holders or residents or those that can prove they have business inside the perimeter will be allowed to access.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned the pandemic. This is, of course, the first Olympics after 2 COVID-era games. What can we expect to be different this time around?
Yeah, Dylan. So Tokyo 2020 was delayed by an entire year. And then when it went ahead in 2021, it was behind closed doors. The only spectators were allowed were local residents. The same affected Beijing 2022 for the Winter Olympics. You had to be fully vaccinated to get into China to compete. There were rigorous testing conditions. And again, only local spectators. This time around, we are expecting, of course, no health restrictions, no pandemic requirements. Everybody can come in and enjoy the Paris 2024 Summer Olympics. In terms of the new sports, I will add that breakdancing is going to be taking place this year, with gold, silver and bronze medals for the breakdancing. And also, though, baseball and karate are going to be out. They are not being competed for at this Olympics. And I'll just end with a look back to a throwback in 1924, the last time that the Olympics were held in Paris. This time there won't be gold medals for sculpture, architecture and music as there were 100 years ago.
Thank you, Ross. Looking forward to all your Olympic coverage from Paris. Ross Cullen reporting live from Paris.